Samuel Eto'o's path to football stardom was blocked by poverty, rejection, and constant overlook. But despite the setbacks, he kept fighting to become one of the most feared strikers the world has ever seen. Ultimately, he broke a record that still stands today, and I think it will never be broken again. But how did he do it? And did a boy from the street rise to become one of the greatest Africans of all time? Well, it's time to find out. Cameroon's limited football infrastructure offered little support for rising talent. For Eto'o, that meant no elite coaching, no fancy gear, just raw grit and an obsession with the ball. His family backed him the best they could, but money was tight. Even boots were a luxury. What he lacked in resources, he made up for in hunger. At 15, that hunger caught the eye of European scouts. In 1996, he got a life-changing offer: join Real Madrid's youth academy. It was a dream. But dreams, especially in football, don't come easy. In Spain, Eto'o was faced with a harsh new reality. He didn't speak the language. The style of play was unfamiliar. Most of all, Real Madrid wasn't built to nurture a young African striker. Spanish players were prioritized. Eto'o barely got game time, and management made it clear they didn't see him as part of their future. Instead of developing him, Madrid loaned Eto'o out to Leganés, to Espanyol, and eventually to Mallorca. It was demoralizing, but Mallorca unintentionally became his proving ground. In 2000, during a loan spell at the island club, everything clicked. Far from the politics of Madrid, Eto'o thrived. The fans embraced him, the team played for him. That season, he lit up La Liga, and Mallorca signed him permanently for €4.4 million, a massive fee for the club, and one that would prove to be a bargain. At Mallorca, Eto'o became more than a striker. He became a symbol. His pace, power and finishing turned the club into giant killers. In 2003, he led them to their first ever Copa del Rey title. And in 2004, when the club couldn't afford meals for travelling fans, Eto'o personally paid €30,000 to feed them. "The fans are the heart of this team," he said. "Without them, we are nothing." By then, the world had taken notice. European giants wanted him. Among them was Barcelona, on the brink of a revolution under coach Frank Rijkaard. They needed a clinical forward to lead the line. Eto'o was perfect. In 2004, Barcelona signed him for €24 million. He had a point to prove to Real Madrid, who had written him off, and he made that point fast. In his debut season at Barca, Eto'o scored 29 goals across competitions, 25 in La Liga. Barcelona ended a 6-year title drought, knocking Real Madrid off their perch. Eto'o's fire on the pitch, his relentlessness, his ability to sniff out goals, became the team's edge. His connection with Ronaldinho was electric. Ronaldinho created magic. Eto'o finished it. Together, they dismantled defences across Europe. Their chemistry defined a new era of Barcelona football. Fast, fearless and fun. A defining moment came in a 3-0 demolition of Real Madrid at Camp Nou. Eto'o scored the opener and ran to the corner flag, arms outstretched, eyes burning. For Barcelona fans, it was catharsis. For Eto'o, it was justice. The following season, 05-06, he levelled up. He scored 34 goals, won the Pichichi and led Barcelona to another league title. But it was the Champions League where he made history. In the final against Arsenal, Barca trailed 1-0. In the 76th minute, Eto'o struck a clinical finish to equalise. They won 2-1. Eto'o was named man of the match, becoming the first African player to score in a Champions League final. It was his arrival on the world stage, undeniable and unforgettable. But success never comes without resistance. In the next season, Eto'o suffered a serious knee injury that kept him out for 5 months. Barcelona, without their talisman, lost momentum and the title. When he returned, he scored 11 goals in 19 games, but internal tensions were growing. Eto'o's blunt honesty clashed with teammates and management. A feud with Ronaldinho spilled into public. "I was the focus of all the negative attention," he said later. "It was an unfair fight, but I stayed focused on my job." The 07-08 season was rocky. Barca stumbled to 3rd place in La Liga, and coach Rijkaard was nearing the end of his tenure. But Eto'o kept scoring, 16 goals in just 18 league games. One performance, a hat-trick against Levante, reminded everyone who he was, a cold-blooded finisher. still at the top of his game. Barcelona needed a reset. That reset arrived in the form of Pep Guardiola. In 2008, the untested coach took over and shocked many by making Eto'o a central piece of his vision. Rumours had swirled about Eto'o leaving, but Guardiola kept him, and it proved a masterstroke. The 08-09 season became the most successful in the club's history. Eto'o scored 36 goals. Barcelona won the league, the Copa del Rey, and the Champions League, a historic treble. In the Champions League final against Manchester United, Eto'o struck again. Just 10 minutes in, he cut inside Vidic and fired past Van der Sar. It was the opener in a dominant 2-0 win. Once again, Eto'o had scored in the biggest game of the year. Once again, he delivered. He became the first player to score in 2 Champions League finals and win both. More than that, he had done it as a leader in one of the most iconic teams in football history. Surrounded by legends Ronaldinho, Messi, Xavi, Iniesta, Eto'o wasn't just part of the team, he was the spearhead. His movement opened space, his goals won games, his fire lifted the entire squad. That Barcelona team played football that felt like art, and at the sharp end of that art was Samuel Eto'o. Relentless, underrated, unforgettable. In the summer of 2009, Samuel Eto'o's time at Barcelona came to an unexpected end. Despite being one of the most prolific strikers in the club's history and playing a pivotal role in their historic treble-winning season, Pep Guardiola decided it was time for a change. Eto'o was included in a remarkable swap deal with Inter Milan, with Zlatan Ibrahimovic heading to Barcelona. The move shocked fans, but despite Eto'o didn't want to leave, he had no choice. The deal that sent Eto'o to Inter Milan was one of the most talked about transfers of the summer. Barcelona paid Inter 46 million euros plus Eto'o for Ibrahimovic, valuing the Cameroonian striker at around 20 million euros. Many questioned the decision, as Eto'o had just scored 36 goals in the previous season and was at the peak of his powers. But Guardiola wanted a different type of striker, and Eto'o found himself heading to Italy. At Inter, Eto'o joined a squad managed by the charismatic and tactical genius Jose Mourinho. The team was filled with experienced players, many of whom were considered past their prime. Names like Javier Zanetti, Esteban Cambiaso, and Diego Milito formed the backbone of the squad. While some doubted whether this aging team could compete at the highest level, Mourinho had a vision, and Eto'o was a key part of it. Eto'o's first season at Inter Milan was nothing short of extraordinary. Mourinho's side defied expectations, winning the Serie A title, the Coppa Italia, and the UEFA Champions League to complete a historic treble. Eto'o became the first player in history to win back-to-back trebles with 2 different clubs, cementing his legacy as one of the greatest players of all time. Eto'o's role at Inter was different from his time at Barcelona. Mourinho deployed him as a versatile forward, often asking him to play on the wing or even track back to defend. Eto'o embraced this selfless role, sacrificing personal glory for the good of the team. His work rate, tactical discipline, and ability to deliver in crucial moments made him indispensable. In Serie A, Eto'o scored 12 goals and provided 5 assists, helping Inter secure the league title. In the Coppa Italia final, he played a key role in the team's 1-0 victory over Roma. But it was in the Champions League where Eto'o truly shone. Inter's journey to European glory was filled with drama and iconic moments. In the semi-finals, they faced Barcelona, Eto'o's former club. The tie was billed as a clash of styles. Mourinho's pragmatic Inter against Guardiola's free-flowing Barcelona. In the first leg at the San Siro, Inter won 3-1, with Eto'o playing a crucial role in the team's defensive and attacking efforts. The second leg at the Camp Nou was a defensive masterclass, as Inter held on to a 1-0 defeat to progress 3-2 on aggregate. Eto'o's tireless running and defensive contributions were vital in shutting down Barcelona's attack. The final, held in Madrid, saw Inter face Bayern Munich. Eto'o started on the wing, once again showcasing his versatility. Diego Milito scored both goals in a 2-0 victory, with Eto'o assisting one of them. As the final whistle blew, Eto'o celebrated his second treble in as many years, a feat no other player had achieved. The following season, Eto'o took on a more central role in Inter's attack. With Mourinho leaving for Real Madrid, Rafael Benitez took over as manager. The team struggled to replicate the success of the previous season, but Eto'o continued to deliver. He scored 37 goals in all competitions, including 21 in Serie A, making it his most prolific season in terms of goals. Eto'o's performances helped Inter win the Supercoppa Italiana and the FIFA Club World Cup, where he scored twice in the final against TP Mazembe. However, the team's form in Serie A and the Champions League was inconsistent, and Benitez was sacked midway through the season. Leonardo replaced him, but Inter finished second in the league and were eliminated in the Champions League quarter-finals by Schalke. Despite the team's struggles, Eto'o's individual brilliance stood out. He was the team's top scorer and continued to prove himself as one of the best forwards in the world. The 2011-12 season marked the beginning of the end for Eto'o at Inter. The team was in decline, with many of its key players aging and struggling to maintain their previous levels of performance. Inter finished 6th in Serie A, their worst league position in over a decade, and were eliminated early in the Champions League. But it was clear that the team needed a rebuild. Financial difficulties also began to plague the club, and Inter decided to cash in on their star striker. In the summer of 2011, Eto'o made a surprising move to Russian club Anzhi Makhachkala. Financial reasons drove the transfer, as Anzhi offered Eto'o a record-breaking salary of €20 million per year, making him the highest-paid player in the world at the time. The move raised eyebrows, as Anzhi was not a traditional football powerhouse, but Eto'o saw it as a new challenge. At Anzhi, Eto'o continued to perform at a high level, scoring 36 goals in 73 appearances over 2 seasons. He helped the team qualify for the Europa League and reach the Russian Cup final. However, the club's ambitious project was short-lived. Financial issues forced Anzhi to sell their star players, and Eto'o left the club in 2013. After leaving Anzhi Makhachkala in 2013, Samuel Eto'o final chapters, where playing for several clubs across Europe and beyond. Despite being in the twilight of his playing days, Eto'o continued to showcase his talent and leadership wherever he went. Eto'o joined Chelsea in the summer of 2013, reuniting with his former Inter Milan manager, Jose Mourinho. Although no longer at his peak, Eto'o proved he still had the knack for scoring in big games. He netted 12 goals in 35 appearances, including a memorable hat-trick against Manchester United in a 3-1 victory. His time at Chelsea was short-lived, and he moved to Everton the following season, where he scored 4 goals in 20 appearances before leaving in January 2015. Eto'o's career took him to Italy once again in 2015, where he joined Sampdoria. However, his stint was brief, and he moved to Turkish club Antalyaspor later that year. In Turkey, Eto'o enjoyed a resurgence, scoring 44 goals in 77 appearances over 2 seasons and becoming a fan favourite. He later joined Konyaspor in 2018 before finishing his career in Qatar with Qatar SC, retiring in 2019. While Eto'o's club career was remarkable, his achievements on the international stage were equally legendary. Representing Cameroon, Eto'o became the nation's all-time leading scorer with 56 goals in 118 appearances. His international career was defined by moments of brilliance and historic triumphs. Eto'o's first major international success came at the 2000 Sydney Olympics, where he helped Cameroon win the gold medal. In the final against Spain, Eto'o scored a crucial goal as Cameroon came from behind to draw 2-2 before winning 5-3 on penalties. It was a historic moment for African football, and Eto'o's star began to rise on the global stage. Eto'o also played a pivotal role in Cameroon's back-to-back African Cup of Nations victories in 2000 and 2002. In the 2000 tournament, Eto'o scored in the final against Nigeria, helping Cameroon win 4-3 on penalties after a 2-2 draw. 2 years later, he was instrumental in Cameroon's triumph, scoring crucial goals throughout the tournament. Eto'o's international career wasn't without challenges. Cameroon struggled in World Cups, failing to progress beyond the group stage in 2002, 2010 and 2014. Despite these setbacks, Eto'o's leadership and contributions to African football were unparalleled. He was named African Player of the Year 4 times, a record at the time, and remains one of the continent's greatest ever players. Samuel Eto'o's career after Anzi and his international legacy solidified his status as one of football's all-time greats. From winning Olympic gold and 2 AFCON titles to excelling at clubs across Europe, Eto'o's journey was a testament to his talent, resilience, and unrelenting drive to succeed. Even in his later years, he continued to inspire fans and players alike, leaving an indelible mark on the beautiful game. In conclusion, Samuel Eto'o's career is a tapestry woven with threads of extraordinary talent, unwavering determination, and a relentless pursuit of excellence. From his humble beginnings in Cameroon to his triumphs with Barcelona, Inter Milan, and the indomitable Lions, Eto'o defied expectations and shattered records. He wasn't just a goal scorer, he was a leader, a versatile player, and a symbol of hope for African football. His ability to adapt to different leagues, tactical systems, and roles showcased his exceptional footballing intelligence. Whether it was winning trebles, lifting international trophies, or inspiring fans with his passion, Eto'o left an indelible mark on every team he represented. His legacy extends beyond goals and accolades. It's a story of resilience, sacrifice, and an unwavering belief in his own abilities, making him an icon for generations to come. Samuel Eto'o's name will forever be etched in the annals of football history. If you want to follow the story about the manager who saved Messi's career, check out our video here.